Exactly how important are looks to a woman? All right, now I want you to watch this video that I'm about to show you and then give me your honest impression. What do you think about this video? It's pretty shocking.
I just saw the hottest man I think I've ever seen in my entire life running at 7:30 p.m. on the Strand in Manhattan Beach. And it's a good fucking thing. I didn't say anything to him because I think I would have had to cover my eyes if I had to talk to him. To be honest, I don't even think I would date this man because he was so good looking that it would be a liability. Like, who wouldn't be after? I don't want to deal with that. But there's no way he wasn't famous for looking like that. So I'm going to describe him to you. TikTok, if you want to do your thing. Perfect body, tan, blue eyes, dark brown, longish, not long hair. He had a mustache, but not in a porn stash way, in the like ugly hot way, but not ugly at all. So, anyways, if anyone knows social media, he's got to be like a fitness something, athlete something. No one has single digit body fat like that for no reason. Help! I'm like giggling talking about it. Just gonna go back to singing I Can't Relate like a lioness bitch.
Now give me your honest opinion. What did you think of this video? How much do you think that looks matter to a woman after seeing this? Now, she did not talk to this guy. She only saw this guy. She knows nothing about him, only what he looks like. And clearly she's pretty obsessed with this guy. She even said that she's not even sure she would date him because it would be a liability because so many women would be after him. She's assuming he must be famous because of how he looks or an athlete. So she is clearly infatuated, almost borderline obsessed with this guy enough that she made a TikTok about it, trying to find this guy. Now, what's interesting about this is that I found the follow-up video on this, and I think it's going to surprise you quite a bit here.
I have good news and I have bad news. So I went back earlier this week and Strandman was there. He actually came up to my friend and me and said hi. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, a little bit of airport effect was happening when I first saw him. Don't get me wrong, he was attractive, but most gorgeous man I've ever seen in my life, like Stephen Kelly hot, no. So we talked and he seemed kind of cool and I was like, I have to go out with Strandman, I can't not after all of this, you know? So we went out last night and that's where the good news ends. He's a personal trainer, by the way, so that makes sense, but he's not famous, thank God. I don't know how to put this other than I have a feeling this guy loved the Harrison Bucker speech. I think part of why it took me so long to find Strandman is he doesn't have TikTok, or so he says. I feel like 99% of people who tell me they don't have TikTok just lurk on TikTok. Anyway, the words "women aren't funny" actually came out of his mouth as a complete sentence, so RIP that love story. But if you think I'm done dragging this, you're wrong because we can't let it end this way and my DMs are fire now. So whoever wants to replace Strandman, it's your turn because that's how we're going to continue this series. People who should have been Strandman. Love you, bye.
Okay. Now, if you're honest with yourself, that probably came as a surprise to you. It did come as a surprise to me as well, even though what I'm about to tell you is something that I've been preaching for a long time. If you look at what happened here, right? She went from obsessed with this guy based on his physical appearance, so obviously this guy is hot, to making some statements saying, well, you know, maybe he's not the hottest guy I've ever seen. She went on a date with him. She didn't want to have anything else to do with him, right? I mean, here she is sitting down with the hottest guy that she's ever seen, this guy that she was obsessed with. So what happened? Well, he said that women weren't funny. Well, as you'll see, I would not ever use that phrase on a date, apparently. I'm going to show you another video in a second here. But here's the thing to understand about this, guys. All right. And I've been saying this for a long time. All right. Is that yes, if you are an attractive man, all right, then women will initially, they will give you the time of day. They will be maybe even obsessed with you. But as soon as you open your mouth, as soon as they interact with you, that's where the real judgment will begin. That's why when you think that looks matter so much, you're wrong. Looks will get you in the door. It is true. She did look for Strandman, but she did find him. And when she did find him, she found out that he was not the, quote, Chad that she thought that he was. Even though, I mean, this guy's still got single-digit body fat. He still is 6 feet tall. He still has a face like a model, apparently. But she doesn't see him as attractive anymore. And why? The reason why is because now that she's actually met him, she has evaluated him and she's found that he is not as attractive, right? Her brain actually went and backwards justified her new assessment of him to actually visually not see him as attractive anymore. So if you think that looks is the thing that matters to most women, you're absolutely wrong. This is kind of smoking gun evidence that shows you that this is not the case. Because believe me, you would think, and most most guys would think that if a woman thought that you were the most attractive guy she'd ever seen in her life, would you think that you're going to get laid? Probably. Would you think that she would want to date you more than one time? Probably, right? Would you think that there's very little that you could do to screw it up? I mean, you could probably be an asshole. You could probably be rude. You could probably do whatever, but it doesn't matter because you're Chad. Sorry, Chad. It's not going to work that way. You can have all the looks in the world, but if you don't have game, if you cannot talk to a woman, if you don't have confidence, if you cannot entertain a woman, if you're not going to be humorous, if she doesn't buy into your masculine frame and see you as a sexually attractive man beyond your physical appearance, it's over for you. It's game over. Now, if you don't believe me about this, let me show you one more. I thought this was pretty funny.
It's a true story. One day I walked into my job and there was a security guard sitting at the front desk and he looked like this. I'm not kidding though. He looked like this. I had forgotten my key card that day and he looks at me and he goes, "Did you forget your key card?" But he said it in like a southern drawl, like the way Bradley Cooper says, like, "I just want to take another look at you." He was like, "Did you forget your key card?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'm fucked mentally right now, actually, because of how you look." I get into work. I run up to my manager. I go, "There's a security guard that I have never seen in my 4 years working here who looks like Charlie Hunnam." He's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Is this not news in the building?" I'm like, "Go stare at him, find out what his name says on his name tag so I can fucking stalk this guy." She looks at him. She comes back and finds me at my bar and she's like, "Okay, I saw him. His name is Matt. Look him up on like Workplace. Like, you know, your little like, it's like, okay, tomorrow when I come into work, I'm going to be looking fucking stunning, whatever." Come into work. He's not there. He's not there for another like month and a half. Like, I don't see him. I mean, I work at a stadium. A ship's passing in the wind situation. Anyway, whatever. I'm like, okay, I guess he doesn't work here anymore. One day my manager comes up to me and he's like, "Did you see Matt at the staff entrance?" I was a cartoon character. I was like, down there. I'm in my fucking uniform, name tag, like collared shirt, loser. And I'm like, "Hi." He's like, "Hi, like, do I know you?" "Of course you don't know me. I'm obsessed with you from our one interaction. I am one of several women that work here." So I chat with him a bit and he's like, "Why are we having this conversation?" Probably. And then I walk away and then I'm like, I'm going to message him on Workplace. And I don't know what I said. It was something like, "We should grab a drink," like whatever, just fuckboy behavior on my part. He never responds. He actually still hasn't responded. It's been 6 years. But this, I see him at work one day and now I'm embarrassed because he hasn't responded to my Workplace message, which is already fucking pathetic of me. Go to a bar that night. He's the fucking security guard at the bar. So now I say to my friends, I'm like, "That's the guy. Look at him." He remind you, this was him. It might as well have been him. It might have been him. Friends are like, "What the fuck?" But then one of my friends goes, "Is he cross-eyed?" And I'm like, "No, he's not cross-eyed." And she's like, "Something's going on with his eyes." Go up to him and I strike up a conversation. I'm like, "I work with you at the stadium and I sent you a message on Workplace and you never responded." He's like, "Workplace? Who the fuck messages people? I don't check Workplace. I don't have that on my phone." I'm like, "Well, I asked you if you wanted to get drinks." And he was like, "Oh, okay." I'm talking to him. I am noticing something going on with his eyes, but I'm like, what the Sorry. It's so funny when I get to the punchline. We chat for a little bit and now I have more confidence because I'm like, okay, now you've seen me like sexy out at a bar. I say sexy. I have no clue how I looked that night, actually. Probably wearing a circle skirt from American Apparel. But I came through the staff entrance to work a couple days after that and he hadn't messaged me back on Workplace. So I was like, fuck this guy. Like, I told you I messaged you on Workplace. Fucking download it. Do you want to get laid or not, buddy? Guess is when you look like this isn't a problem for you. But wait, walking in through work and he starts chatting with me and I'm like, "Hey, how was your weekend? Good, you?" And I'm looking at his eye. I've never seen this before, okay? And I'm sorry if you have this. I've never seen it. Okay, see how you can see the white above and below my eyes? His eyes were like that, but normal. Like, what I'm saying is his iris was so small that they looked weird. Like, his eyes were a normal size, but his irises and pupils were really small. Like, the whites were available for my looking pleasure. And I was like, holy fuck, what's going on with that? Anyway, I tell my mom, security guard, she's like, first of all, don't date security guards because they have inferiority complexes. Okay, that's just my mom's opinion. Not all security guards, not all men. Secondly, if you can see the whites above and below an eye, that's psycho. That's a psychopath. I'm like, you're being ridiculous and I'm being shallow. Like, what, am I actually not gonna rail this guy that looks like Jack because he has small irises? Like, what's wrong with me? The more I saw him at work, the more it really bugged me. I was like, this is actually crazy. Like, if we're having sex, you don't know where he's looking, by the way. Like, his eyes, I just can't even explaining it to my roommate one day. And I'm like, am I so shallow? Like, I feel like this eye thing might be a deal breaker for me. Like, it's crazy. They're so small. She's like, show me. So I go on his Facebook. Guess what? We didn't even get to looking at his eyes because he was in so many incel Facebook group, an active commenter. Actually had a comment that was like, "Women are not funny, fuck." If you're in the dating scene right now, look out for a few things. These are some red flags I noticed. 1, little eye. 2, maybe security guards. I don't know. Maybe my mom was right. I'm kidding. All the security guards at my work now are varied. 3, something weird about an active user commenting on anything, especially an incel. An incel was obvious, but I thought it was even more kind of cringe that he was an active incel. Like, to have incel ideologies is one. Commenting with your real name, it's like, you don't give a fuck. Even if it wasn't incel, even if it was like bodybuilding group or like why was that the example? Like, sort of negative comment. Like, if he was commenting on a random girl's photos, like, ugly, I'd be like, you're fucking crazy. What the hell was the point of this story? I don't know. Did it help you? Or judge a book by its cover, because that cover might be hiding an incel with little eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I rest my case here, but amazing. So just a couple of observations here, right? Just to understand here. And again, I use 2 examples here. I mean, I just happen to find both these examples on the same day within 20 minutes. So I bet I could find 100 examples of this on TikTok if I kept looking. A couple of notes here. I mean, one of them, the most obvious one is, like I said before, don't ever tell a woman that women aren't funny. Apparently that will move you right to the rejection zone immediately. So I didn't know that one myself, but just if you don't think women are funny, keep it to yourself, apparently. All right. Now, second of all, here's again, another woman who's obsessed with a guy based on his looks, right? She looks at the guy, little to her knowledge, she didn't actually realize he was an incel. She thought he was super hot, right? Obviously, this guy doesn't think he's super hot, or there's something wrong with him. There's some reason why he's not getting laid, because he was in an incel group. I mean, I would suggest also that when women use the term incel, it's the entire manosphere. I think that's what they mean. So he might not have actually been in an incel group. He might have been in one of the other groups. The outside world thinks you're an incel. So just take that for what it's worth, right? Just so you have this knowledge. I'm not saying that you are, but you realize that this is how people view, right? So she's obsessed with this guy. Okay, so much so she hasn't talked to him. She just looked at him. She's stalking him for weeks. All right. She's trying to figure out information about him. She messages him on Workplace. She goes to a bar. She sees him. She starts talking to him. You would imagine this guy's going to get laid, right? I mean, there's no way that he can screw this up. Okay. This woman is obsessed with him, right? He's the hottest guy that she's ever seen. However, amazingly, how quickly that changes. One small disqualification is all that it takes, his eyeballs. Now, it probably was more than his eyeballs, right? It probably had to do with when she actually had interaction with him and talked with him, that her level of attraction to him diminished because he didn't exhibit the traits women find attractive. It also goes to show you, in order for a woman to be attracted to you, it requires a pretty high bar. For her to be not attracted to you requires any small defect can disqualify you. So this is something that you really need to understand as a man, is that it doesn't matter if you have all the things going for you. If you have one thing that disqualifies you, you could be out of the running. You could be giving a woman the ick, just like that. They will suddenly not see a man as hot anymore once they meet him if he doesn't measure up. If you're online and you're posting crap about women, if you're posting complaints, whining, whatever it is, commenting on women's photos, nasty stuff, or on real, I see guys all the time on my Instagram commenting trash comments, especially on the podcast I do with my wife. They're commenting nasty stuff about women. Wow. You're just like, you could be the hottest guy in the world and you do that and you're done. No woman is going to want to have anything to do with you. You're suddenly not attractive anymore, right? It doesn't matter what you look like, right? If you want a good example of this, who's that comedian on TikTok, Matt Rife? He was like the hottest, super hot guy, right? Like all these women were obsessed with him. Then he said some really negative stuff about women. Boom. No one cares about him anymore. Women hate him now. What I want you to take away from this video is that looks do not matter. I'm not saying that they don't matter at all, but what I'm saying is that, in fact, maybe this is a better statement. You could be the hottest guy that a woman has ever seen, and that does not matter. Because if she meets you, if she talks to you, if she evaluates you, if there's one small disqualification that she does not like about you, you're out. It doesn't matter. So don't prioritize focusing on looks. Yes, you should improve your looks as much as you can, okay, just to be in the running. But when I tell you that looks are not the most important thing, believe me, it's not just me saying it. It's not just women saying it. It's actual proof. When you see that, I can understand why guys think the opposite of this, because if you watch that first video only, or you watch the first part of that second or third video that I showed you, you would think that women are obsessed about a guy just based on how he looks. And it is true. They started off that way. But once they meet the guy and once they talk to him, their evaluation criteria changes drastically. And the brain will automatically change their hotness into ugliness if they don't match up. I've been preaching this for a long time. I can't give you a better evidence of this. I mean, this is not even set up, right? It's not even like these women were trying to prove a point, like they're trying to show you that looks don't matter. To some degree, they think looks matter, right? They might not even realize what's actually happening psychologically here, right? They might think, oh, well, obviously if a woman says this is the hottest guy I've ever seen and she's obsessed with him, she thinks that looks matter to her. She might even think that, but it's not true. It is not the thing. Women don't even understand what is it actually that attracts them to a man. They think that it's looks, but it's not. They get this impression of a guy, right? And what they believe about the guy, that is what matters. I hate to break it to you guys. You don't have an excuse anymore, right? And I think the reason why a lot of guys gravitate towards this idea that looks are so important or that looks matter so much is because it's the thing that you don't have. And so you're like, okay, well, if I don't have it and I can't get it, it's outside of my control, then it's not my fault, which I get that. I understand that psychology. If you can own up and realize that the truth is that looks don't matter as much as you think that they do, and that actually being the best looking guy in the world is not going to matter. In fact, if you had a magic wand and you could make yourself the best looking guy in the world, it would not change your results very much with women. It would change them slightly. But if you're the same guy that's getting rejected by women now and you just became better looking, it wouldn't make a difference, as you can see with this example. Hey, if you want some help improving your dating life, improving your social life, and building a business, becoming more successful, developing yourself as a man, developing real masculine traits that women find attractive, click the link down below. Join us in the Bulldog Mindset membership. I'll see you next time.